Okay, welcome to episode 162 of an Evolving Man podcast. Today I'm excited to be speaking to Will Steele. Will is a transformational leadership coach, author of Free to Lead, and host of the Free to Lead podcast, where founders, executives, and world leaders uncover what's truly holding them back and learn to lead with clarity, authenticity, and power. Welcome, Will.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to be on the show, Piers.
Yeah, bless you, bless you. And I would love for us to begin the podcast is for you to share a little bit about your journey. How did you get into working in leadership and doing the work you're now doing?
Yeah. One second, just making sure I've got the right microphone here. Yeah. Yeah. How did I get into leadership? Well, it's quite a checkered story. When I was growing up, I got awarded, unbeknownst to me, a 3 weeks outward bound holiday, right? Or program or course or whatever you want. I used to deliver milk as a kid with my mum, and one of the customers, noticed we were delivering milk. He said, "How would you like to go on an outward bound holiday?" I said, "What? That'd be amazing." And I won this, whatever it was. There must have been several people in it. And it was all about, leadership and hiking and climbing and canoeing and water sports and stuff. And I just was like, well, I'm the leader, you know. I just was, I'm the leader. Right? If I look back, I don't know if I displayed real leadership skills apart from this arrogance of me thinking, I'm the leader, right? So it kind of started there. Then I went to university and went into the Royal Air Force. And all the boys had gone before, who were my senior year at university. They gave me all the advice: keep your head down, keep quiet, stay out of trouble, keep your nose clean, don't stand out, just get through, and then you can start your pilot training. You're just doing officer training to get through it. Just get through it. So I kept my head down, kept my mouth shut, kept out of trouble. And after 16 weeks, a flight commander brought me into his office. He said, "Well, Steele, I can't recommend you for graduation. You're not an officer. You're like a ghost. Officers speak up, man. So you got two chances. You can leave the Air Force, no hard feelings, or you can do the program again." I'm like, well, I want to be a pilot, so I've got to do it. So yeah, I'll do it again. And I go back to my room, and it was just like, I was so disappointed. And I just kind of said to myself, well, that didn't work. I tried to be what I think I'm supposed to be, or they told me I need to be, and that I wasn't being myself. So screw that. I'm just going to be myself. Let the chips fall where they do. I'm just going to be myself. And 18 weeks later, I graduated with the leadership trophy. So I was onto something, right? I didn't think too much about it until years later. So I went through the Air Force. I was a pilot in the Air Force. It was great. Came out to be an airline pilot, and I thought, oh man, this is like being a bus driver. I don't really want to do this. So I was searching around for, what do I do? What's it all about? Where are we going with this life? And I did this program. It was a transformational program, and it was like it just altered everything. As I say, in my book, life's about becomes about whatever you've decided in the past. Things happen and you make decisions. Things happen and you come up with conclusions. You add meaning to what happened. And when you look back, you don't see what happened objectively. You see it all as what you interpreted. So for you, what you interpreted is what happened. And that's the big problem. And then now you look into the future and what you see is tainted by what you've decided in the past. So that started off a whole new journey. I thought, well, I want to do this. I want to make a difference with people. That's got to be, I mean, that's, powerful, it's moving, it's inspirational, it feels really right, do that. Versus fly around in these airliners, just all want to do is get home. It's just boring. And it's not all boring. There's some very intense parts, when you're in a heavy traffic zone or, it can be very challenging. But it seemed to me the game was always to get home before the schedule,
Mhm.
and it's about the time off, not the time flying. And life is all of it. So I thought, well, I want to do this. So I changed careers, started in a whole new thing, learned all about human beings and behavior and transformation and all this work, and became a leader of the senior program called the Landmark Forum. And I led that all over the world. And the training is like a 6 month training. And you are like a journeyman with different forum leaders, different leaders, right? And you're going through the whole thing. And so I passed that, and then you got like a probationary period where you've got 20 programs, and in these programs you've got to they measure how many people leave during the program, how many of the people in the program sign up for the next program, how many guests do they bring on their final session, how many of those people sign up for the program, so everything's measured. So there's certain measures that you have to get to qualify, right? And you've got to do it so many times throughout these 20 programs and have an average of this, that, and the other, right? And it was all down to the last program with me. The last program said, well, you've been on and off. You're successful, then you're not successful. You're successful, and you're not successful. Um, and they sent me to a place called Van Nuys, which is north of Los Angeles, like a satellite of their main office. And no one had led an effective program there for years. They couldn't remember, I mean, they had all the records, and nobody had ever got them to go from the program and do the advanced program, because to do it, they have to go to Los Angeles, the main center, which could be, on a good day, you could probably get there in about an hour. On a normal day, it's probably going to take you 2.5 to 3 hours. On a bad day, it could be 5 or 6 hours. So they were all reluctant to go to Los Angeles to do this program. So very few of them ever signed up for the advanced program. So, and that was the one measure that had to happen. Of all the measures, they had to do all the measures, but that one had to happen. So it's like, screwed, man. And then the night before the program, I had my coach, I had my designation committee member, the person who was in charge of my development as a leader, and I had the head of the designation committee on a call. All three of them got on the call. Normally it'd just be with my coach. And the head of the designation committee said, well, he said, we've tried everything with you, and you're going to just do whatever you do. So we've got no coaching for you. You'll either be a leader at the end of this program or you won't. And hung up. So now I got this, dark night of the soul. There I am, it's like, and it then brought back that time in the Air Force where I was like, I tried to do it the way they're supposed to do it. And I'm like, I've tried everything. They tell me to do it like this, I do it like that. They tell me to do it like that, I do it like that. I try this, that works. They try that, and it doesn't work in the other place. So, and wherever you go, the crowd are different. They're not the crowd who were in last week. So you can't be like you were last week to make this work. You have to find out what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just vowed. I said, well, none of that worked. Fine, F it. I'm just going to really love these people. I'm going to get out there, love them, give them what they need to transform themselves and their lives. That's it. That's it. Screw everything. Just that. And the program was like off the charts successful. Everything that you measure was all breaking the records. It was like incredible. They'd never seen anything like it. And my coach couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe it. I knew it was different. But it's like you need these lessons to get them more than once, right? To just be you. That's the most powerful thing you can be as a leader. You. The problem is we've got all mixed up. We don't know who you is. We don't know who we are anymore. Well, I'm this, I'm that. Yeah, you're that. Like I was very competitive in life, right? And I can be if I'm not, monitoring myself. I can just become all about winning. And where does all that come from? Well, it all comes from me from childhood. And you mentioned you work with people who go through boarding school. I didn't go through boarding school. But at 3 years old, my dad told the story of how I came along to the whole family, a big family gathering. He said, well, we couldn't afford a third baby. Then mum got pregnant. And we thought we'd got two boys already. We'd like to have a little girl this time. So we're looking forward to the little girl, and you popped out. You should have been a girl. Everyone's laughing, big funny story. Over here, it was, they didn't want me. They didn't want me in the first place, and they really didn't want me because they wanted a girl. Right. I'm the best. And that run my entire life. And it didn't matter how successful I was. I have a drawer full of firsts from every sports day at school up to about 11. I won every event every year, the whole time. They're all firsts, like a full drawer of these first ribbons, right? And I remember bringing my first one home, and my dad, I'm thinking he's going to pick me up and swing me around and he'll tell me how proud he was and happy. He just give me some money. He goes, oh, yeah. I was like, huh? Disappointed because I expected something else. And then I come home with six of them across my chest. And no, great, great. Because I didn't know I was trying to fix what was under the surface, which was really I'm not wanted. And this thing that I was doing, achieve something, go for something. I spent my life going for things and having to accomplish great things, to look good, to be admired, to be people to think I'm really great. However, it never really fixed that thing underneath.
Mm.
And as people have midlife crisis, people commit suicide, all sorts, because it just never really sorts itself out because they never get to the bottom of the bottom. They never get to the root of where it all came from.
Mm.
And just like you were saying, lots of people who go through boarding school end up thinking something similar to what I thought. I didn't go through boarding school and end up like that, you
Mm.
know? So I'm committed with my book. You read that and you can then go back, track back yourself to discover what's driving you that gets you results, but never gets you fulfillment and real satisfaction and real joy and real peace within yourself. You're never going to have that on your own. So the book's called Free to Lead, but it's really free to be in life and be who you create yourself as, not as you default ended up as.
Mm.
Long
Mm.
answer to your question.
No, wonderful. It's interesting as you shared you'd been working, teaching. I was like, I wonder if it's the landmark. I haven't done
Yes.
the
Yeah.
landmark project. A few of my clients have and friends, so I've heard lots about it over the years. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
Led
Yeah,
it for 15 years, the forum.
wow,
Yeah, it's
awesome.
over 90,000 people all over the world. It was a hard work, right? Like in your
Mhm.
traveling in different time zones, long hours. Can't walk over anything. You've got to deal with everything. But it's amazing training.
Mm,
Amazing
mm,
training. Yeah. I mean, I don't regret it at all. I mean, I guess I'm kind of tough, I've been through officer training twice. I've been brought up working since I was 3 years old, delivering milk in Yorkshire 7 days a week. So I kind of for some reason, I like a challenge. I like it. It feels good when you accomplish a challenge. So that aspect of me I still like. But yeah, so I don't mind the training. I don't mind that it's tough. I don't mind that it's hard. Some people complain about it and people are whinging about it now, but you know, if you're going through public school, you might call it character, or you might in the
yeah.
military, you might call it character. It gives you character. Yeah, it does. There's something about that, that
Mm,
adversity that you push through and you find somewhere deep down the resource to just keep going. You grind down and they call it grit, right? You've got grit. That's how you get it. You don't get
mm,
it through
mm,
life being easy. In fact,
mm,
you're talking about the Marines, people being in the Marines, they're struggling to find real men now. It's like
mm,
they can't get real tough people because I don't know, people have got soft playing video games instead of going out and playing football or whatever they did in the street when I was a kid.
mm. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I've often heard that saying that, easy times makes, I can't remember the wording, but something like easy times make uh,
So makes
soft
weak people.
people,
Yeah.
and then soft people make hard times, and then hard times make tough people, etc., etc. So,
I think it's tough times create tough people. Soft times or easy times. I think it's soft times. Yeah, you're right. I don't, can't
yeah,
quite get it, but
I'll,
it's
I'll
like
look
that,
I'll
right?
look it up for
Yeah.
next time. But
I know Tony
yeah,
Robbins uses that one.
yeah, yeah, and I see that it's like, and I guess that's something you've just shared there is authenticity. So, what is it that you did differently from that? You'd done all these trainings, and then that last one, you said you were just yourself. If you were to reverse engineer, what were the things that you were like, that's what made me successful as a teacher, a leader.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell you right away. I have a propensity to go into my thoughts,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Live in here too much. And that took literally 18 months of intense uh, dedication, if you like, from all the other leaders to get me to keep seeing it when it's happening and snap out of it, right? And be in the moment, present.
mm,
So if I'm leading or coaching somebody, right, and I'm thinking and trying to figure out what to say or what to do next, I'm not even in the conversation. I'm in my head.
mm,
So the I don't know if it's a secret, but the thing that's effective is to have all your attention over there. And whatever you're saying in your mind, which is automatic, by the way, you just don't listen to it. Take some real training, right? To not go there, to just stay over here. The words come from what's out here. You're responding to what's going on over there with the person, what you're hearing from the person, how they're being when they're saying what they're saying. And you have a thought come, or you can you just ask a question. Well, what happened when you were, you know, are you the youngest of your siblings? And they go, yeah. Okay. Now, where did that come from? I don't know where that came from. That comes from being present in the moment with the person.
mm,
If
mm,
I was like trying to figure out this person and over here, which is what I have a propensity to do, right? Or certainly before I got the training, I would always do that. If I do that, I am not there with the person. So wherever I try and figure out isn't over there. How I'm going to find out is ask them questions and see what they say.
mm,
That's like the Einstein, I think it's Einstein, trying to figure out how you see a clock face and trying to figure out how the clock functions, what
mm,
makes it do that. You can't tell from this side of the clock. You've got to get behind and find out what's going on, you know? So how are you going to get what's going on with the person isn't trying to just think. You have to ask them. They'll tell you.
mm. Thank you. It's interesting. It's like that idea in leadership about asking questions. Stop
Mm.
telling people what to do, because then what you do with that is you end up people who always have to come to you to ask how to
Yeah,
do things. Whereas if you
yeah,
ask questions, well, what do you think? What do you think would
yes,
be best? It opens up those neural pathways that, when you're
yes,
around, they also have access to that.
yes. I remember having a conversation with Werner Erhard, the guy that actually created the forum and all of that stuff. He coached me personally for a while, one on one, right, with him. It was it was quite interesting. But he said some really profound stuff that didn't at the time. I didn't know the relevance of it. And he said, "Don't worry about it. It'll show up when it needs to show up." And things come to me that he said to me in the past. So one of the things he said was, you know, if I tell you something, you've got to remember it, right? So if people have to take notes, and you go to programs, say, take lots of notes. Well, if you're playing tennis, you could have all the notes in the world. It's useless when you're playing tennis. You can't. So what you actually learn, and you learn, is when you discover something.
Mhm.
Like learning to ride a bicycle, you could read books on it, you could watch videos, you could watch everybody, all your friends riding a bicycle and everything, and everyone tells you it looks fairly easy. You get on and you fall off. You don't understand what's going on. Oh, you need to balance. I need to what? You got no idea. You fall off, and then at some point you go, oh, that's it. Now you found it, right? You just discovered what balance is on a bicycle, anyway, right? And now you got it, and you've got it forever. You could not go on a bicycle for 20 years, but you go on a bike, you can ride the bike. I've just bought a new bike myself, and I haven't been on a bicycle for years. I didn't have to think about it. Just got on the bike and started riding it. So
Mhm.
there's the what learning is an interesting thing. When they go to school and people have to learn and memorize and memorize and memorize and memorize, they do have to at some point get it so that they can replay it. But when you're actually in life skills and working with people, you got to discover these things.
Mhm.
Um, um, and as you said, you ask people questions, right? You have to get people to discover for themselves. And that's why I was bringing the Werner in. Now, he actually said that phrase, I discovered for myself. because then you own it. You've discovered it. I
Mm,
discovered that for myself. I actually discovered it. It's a phenomenon, that of discovery, which
mm,
is the real learning. That's when you really learn something.
mm, mm, mm,
So, the question you could be in yourself, myself as well as a coach, is how can I get this person to discover what I'm trying to get them to get? It's a very interesting project, with a particular person, right?
mm,
Because you can tell people stuff, as you said, but it's just information. He said this other thing as well. The access to being is not through knowing, or there's no access to being through knowing. I mean, oh, that sounds very grandiose. There's no access to being through knowing. But what is I believe he's saying is that what alters your being is when you discover something there, and you just alter it naturally in a dance with what's actually happening.
mm,
Whereas if you're in the mind thinking and going to your knowledge, you know, you're not there with what's happening. You're missing stuff. And
mm,
being is being in the moment. There's a being, another human being in this case, and there's this human being, and what you do is you be together, in connected, being together. There's a beingness. And,
mm,
if you're not present to the other person, there's no being going on between you.
mm. Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of my clients, people who've been to boarding school, have that thing. They've just gone up into their heads. They've dissociated because it was a survival mechanism.
Hmm. Hmm.
That was the way we survived because it was too
Yeah.
painful to be in our bodies.
Yeah.
And, I've spoken on my podcast to Joy Shavarian, and she calls it the ABCD of boarding school syndrome. The D is dissociation.
Mm.
So when you're working with people and you see they've got the same thing that you had, which you just go up into your head, thinking,
Yes.
how do you
Yes.
coach them out of that? How do you guide them to go, oh, I'm in my body or I'm here present?
No, yeah, you can't just do it like it's like people want an answer, right? So you want to say something and you get
Yeah.
an answer. I'm sorry, you have to discover it over time, all the different nuances of it, how it shows up like that. So you can say it see, your access to being authentic is to recognize when you're not being authentic and tell the truth about it. Because in that moment, you're being authentic about that you're not being authentic. And that's authenticity there. Then you're being it. People say just be authentic. That doesn't give you any access to being authentic. Saying just be authentic. Well, I'm authentically upset and angry right now. Well, maybe that's not true. That is just a reaction that you're going with. That's not you, it's automatic. It's like machinery. Somebody says that, now you're upset. You have no say in the matter. That's not you. That's your automatic you, your body, your reaction, your biology,
Mm.
you know? So how do you, so when I am working with someone, um, uh, I'm watching them, and then when they're not present, I go, look, you're in your head right now. Right now, you're in your head, you know? And they go, no, yeah, and then come back to you, right? And there's a very clear sign when somebody looks up, it goes like that.
Yeah.
They're not with you, right? They're they're
No.
they're in their head. I mean, that's obvious. You can see it. So
My
if you're
wife used to
present,
say that. My wife used to say that. I used to do that in some interviews. I'd look up because you've just gone. I might
yep.
have I? Like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gone again.
Yeah, but so similar to the authenticity, your access to being present is to recognize when you're not,
Mhm.
and then don't get into a debate with yourself. Don't go, oh, why did I do that? Oh man, I'll never get that. No, just notice it and then bring yourself back.
Mhm.
Notice it, bring yourself back. Just keep bringing yourself back until
Mhm.
there's, less of those moments where you're not it. But you have to keep seeing it. It's not a one-off done thing. It's something you have to continually work on forever if you want to be somebody who is in the moment present with another human being. So you got
Mhm.
to first off catch yourself when you're not and recognize that, oh, I'm not present. I'm in my head. I'm in my thoughts. I was thinking about when I was a kid. I don't even know what they just said.
Mhm.
One of the practices I took on, so you got to build practices. So one of the practices I took on when I was training myself to stay present, you're leading and there's 200 people in the room and you're working with somebody at the microphone and then they say something and it reminds me of my brother and then we did. I'm now, oh shoot, I have to come back to them. They've said a bunch of stuff. I don't know where we are now, right? So I can't just pretend I'm listening because of all these people watching, you know. I have to actually own up to it in the moment. I go, oh, wait, sorry. I'm so sorry. I just started thinking about something else. Can you say that last bit again?
Mm.
Right? And what I discovered was the person at the microphone has absolutely no problem with it. They go, yeah, okay. It's like, okay, right? Everyone in the
Mm.
room, I don't know what they're thinking, obviously, right? But it keeps me present, and then I can give coaching to the person that actually can make a difference versus, I don't know, pretending I'm present, and which I would do in conversations prior to that, in my life prior to that. People would be talking, and I'm like, and just wait for the next point that they bring up and just let that other one go because I didn't get it, because I wasn't present.
Mm.
So, you know, um, and people are so concerned about what other people think, they wouldn't dare admit that, because it might make them look bad or something. But you've got to get used to looking bad if you're committed to developing yourself, because we're
Yeah.
terrible at a lot of this. Really, really. I'm not intelligent. I'm not committed, right?
Mm.
But starting out, I was terrible, you know,
Mm.
at this kind of work. I could fly a fighter jet. I did that, and that's super intense and it's super, you got to be present. You can't be in your thoughts. You've got to be right there. Okay. But that's pretty obvious. And you're so scared that, you're going to screw it up that you're forcing yourself to be present to what's happening, You have to be. You're going to miss something. Whereas when you're in a conversation with people, it's not like that. In fact, it's all a bit slow compared to that. So I would
Mm.
be thinking my own thoughts because I'm not even interested in what the person's saying. They're taking so long to say what they're saying. I had to really hammer that out of myself.
Mm. It's interesting. I'll give you an example. Last year, I was giving a talk at a conference. It's
Mm.
about 150 people in this conference, and I've always been an introvert. So speaking publicly is always like, ah.
Mm.
And halfway through the talk, I dissociated. I left and I said out loud to the group, oh, wait a minute, I've just dissociated. I do apologize. And I came back to the talk. Afterwards, the people were most interested about the dissociation because they're like, God, I do
Exactly.
that all the
That was it
time.
right there. Yeah.
And I had questions afterwards in the Q&A. They were saying, can you come back to that bit you dissociated? Because I do that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's interesting. So exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. That was the real life in action, catching yourself and acknowledging it publicly. Like, which takes courage to do that.
Mm.
Yeah. So you got to generate the courage to do that. But in that moment, boom, then it causes them to be present. They could have
Mm.
been thinking about all sorts of stuff, but then you did that and it's like woke them up. Whoa. That was the first bit of real authenticity in the room. And it's like that. When you're really authentic and you're really there in the moment, it causes the other people to be that.
Mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, segueing slightly into pressure. So much pressure going on at the moment. We've got these things we need to do, changing with AI, etc., etc.
Mm.
Obviously, being a pilot, and the pressure you must have been under. I'd love you to share some ideas of how do we deal with the pressure that is currently around us and what we can do to
Yeah.
manage.
I could give you lots of tools and tips, right? Um, um, I God, it's hard to give a short answer, right? But if you could get that pressure is not outside of you,
Mm, mm,
you're experiencing pressure. There's no pressure outside. It's like saying someone is annoying me. No, they're doing what they're doing. I'm the one getting annoyed. I'm doing that.
Mhm.
Something over here is causing all these emotions to get stirred up. They can't possibly be doing that. They might not even be in the room. They could be the other side of the world, but I'm now getting annoyed because I've heard about this, that, or the other. They're not making me annoyed. They're so annoying, is what people say. Well, they're not even here. How is that happening?
Mhm.
You're getting yourself annoyed. Now, I use that example because it's a segue into getting back to the pressure bit, right? Is that it's not something outside of you. It's what how that's landing for you that's having you go where you go. And if you don't have any facility in getting, oh, wow, look at that, I'm reacting, you
Mhm.
know? I mean, when you lead to 200 people, a lot of the training is recognizing your reactions and not going with them. We used to call it flattening your buttons, you know?
Mhm.
I remember I remember being in rooms till 3 o'clock in the morning and getting my buttons flattened, you know? And what that takes is another person or a couple of people coming right up into your face and saying the things that you don't want people to say to you publicly, you know? Oh, you don't really know what you're doing, do you? Yeah, you don't really understand it, do you? You don't. That was mine, right? And funnily enough, I would lead programs in Boston where all the people from Harvard were coming in, and Harvard professors were in the room, and they were coming up with all their, clever answers and all of that stuff, or clever questions, trying to catch you out and all of that stuff. So I used to get hooked by that. But
Mhm.
then I would just, it's got other people to come at me with that sort of stuff until there was no reaction to it anymore. It's just what they're saying. And I can really be with what's going on and then ask them a question. It's interesting. You come to the program and you're talking about the grammar on the board. Interesting. What are you avoiding dealing with in your own life?
Yeah.
You're getting all busy with that. What's that having you to avoid dealing with? What's going on with you? And you find out they're in a divorce, or you find out something's going on with them when you kind of nail them like that, right? But if I was reacting, I'd be answering these questions or trying to sound smart. It doesn't work.
Mhm.
I had one guy who said, "What's the difference between invent and create?" He was a professor at Harvard, this guy, I believe. I go, "Well, I don't know. Well, why don't you say invent instead of create?" "I don't know. It doesn't. Use that." Then I called my coach on that break because I got hooked by that guy. I was like, oh, God, man, what's this guy doing? He's just trying to take things apart. He goes, "Yeah, well, ask him why is he in the program?" Which I did, and it had a big impact. But if you, um, so back to what your question was, back to relative to pressure, right?
Yeah, pressure.
So if I'm experiencing pressure right now, how come I'm experiencing pressure? Now, let's say my wife said, "Have you done this? Have you done that?" and the other, and I'm experiencing pressure. Why am I experiencing pressure? Probably because I haven't done it, what she's
Mhm.
asking, right? So when your integrity, I call in your integrity is out, you are super hookable, you are super gettable, they can press your buttons very easily. So I lead the program and I'm getting annoyed with the people, right? I'm getting frustrated and annoyed with the people. I got to ring my coach and I'm going to say, "Hey, my integrity's out somewhere because I'm getting so triggered all the time. Where's my integrity out? I don't know where it's out. I got to look. Oh, yeah, I said I was going to do that thing. I didn't do it. I didn't say I wasn't going to do it. Oh, okay. You know, and clean that up with whoever it was with. And then I now sort of go back in the room and find out what they're actually dealing with versus my reaction to what I think they're dealing with.
Mhm. Mhm.
So pressure's a little like that. When we say we're experiencing pressure, mostly it's self-generated, a reaction to what's happening. Uh, a similar ilk would be overwhelmed. Someone who's experiencing being overwhelmed, right? They're experiencing pressure, but they're really overwhelmed. And once you get, "Oh yeah, I'm overwhelmed." All right, great. I got practice for that. Here's what you do when you're overwhelmed. You take a pad of paper. You write on everything that you need to get done that you've not got done yet, and
Mhm.
everything that needs to happen, and everything that you want to get to, but you just don't have time to get to. And just write everything out. So they write everything out. Just writing it out calms you down because you got clarity versus, "Oh, there's all this stuff to do and I don't know if I'm going to do it and they're asking me for this and I don't even know about that." You're just overwhelmed. It's
Mhm.
okay. get clarity. Once you get what's so, and it's black and white, okay, now, what's the top thing there that has to happen today? What needs to happen? All right, great. So I want you to number them in order of priority. To go one, two, three, four, five, six. All right, great. Right, over the next few days, what could you schedule in your calendar? What have you got time to actually do? Great. And then there's other stuff. Okay, good. So get your assistant or you let all these people know you're not going to get that thing done. And you'll get back to them by this date when you're going to promise to do it or that you're going to do it at all. But just get clarity and then just go to work on the most important thing on your list. And maybe it's three things. You know, Steve Jobs used to have three things a day that he would absolutely do that needed to happen. And he was super productive. Well, most of them are not productive because it's all where it lives is all in a swirl. And that's overwhelm, but also very similar to pressure. You can experience pressure with that, right? They're asking me to do more stuff and they're pressuring me. They're asking me, have I done it yet? And da, 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 you know? So is there pressure? Well, I don't know. When you're flying a fast jet and the and the glide slopes coming in, you know, you've got to do this, this, and this to get it done. And you've experienced a lot of pressure if you're behind the airplane, right? So in other words, you're reacting and doing it all. But if you are thinking ahead, you know, next thing is this and the next thing is that, but you're really, you know, a minute out or a couple of minutes out and you're getting stuff ready and you're lining stuff up and then it just comes, just flick that and then the next thing is that. And you're always thinking ahead. Most of that, what you call pressures, there's still an intensity, you know, but there's not like pressure, feel pressured like that. It's just, you're just really there and you're on top of it. So he's on top of it and being behind it, right? So you experience more pressure. You know, pressure to perform. That's mostly in the mind, you know?
Mm, 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 mm. Reminds me of, I don't know if you've read Mike Manaz's book, Learn How to Lead to Win, who's a Top Gun pilot, or he was, and an
Right.
admiral.
I haven't read
Um,
it, no.
it's really great.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I've invited him onto the podcast. We're just working out dates at the moment, but he talks about
Right.
being able to see in the future, like as you're flying, right,
Yep.
what's going to be happening.
Yep.
And if you're just doing it in too close, it's too late. You've got to
Yes.
plan in. It sounds.
Yeah, when you're flying at, you know, 7 miles a minute at 250 feet off the ground, you cannot be doing what's just happening now. You've got to be ahead, you know. Okay, I'm going to be there next, coming up to turning point there. Great. All right, going to be turning on to that. Let's check the weather. Okay, great. And then all you're doing is doing the thing when you get there, you know, and you're already ahead for the next thing.
Mm, Wonderful. So it's kind of, it's like the common theme here is like awareness,
Yeah.
having that awareness, that authenticity, but being present. I mean, how important is that nowadays for leadership of having, self-awareness, awareness? Daniel Goleman in Emotional Intelligence, that's the first thing he talks about is self-awareness. How
Yeah.
important is that for us in leadership?
Oh, I think it's top of the list, you know. I don't want to say it's critical, but you're not going to be super effective without it. I mean, you know, if you look at traditional, what we would term as leadership, which is authoritarian leadership, you just do what I say, you know, and you're kind of ruling by fear mostly,
Mhm.
or you've got a position of authority. Like, you know, when you're in the military, you tell somebody to do something, they need to do it, right? There are consequences if they don't do what you ask them to do. They're disobeying an order, you know? So it's forced without you having to alter your being at all. You just say that, and they have to do that because that's the rules, right? That's the rules that you're inside of. So, but that's a false power, if you like. I mean, I came out of the Air Force, became an airline pilot. I remember walking around the airplane one time, and the power wasn't connected. I said to the guy that was there, the ground crew, I said, can you plug the power in for us? We're going to start it up." The guy walked off. He walked off. He turned around, walked off, didn't plug the power in, walked off. He complained about me. I'm like, what? And I had this senior captain come and give me a long lecture on how to handle ground crew and how to handle people, you know, because I come out of the Air Force and you tell people to do it, they just do it. You don't even have to think about it, right? Oh no, you
Mm,
can't do
mm,
that. You've got to say good morning, how you doing, get related, and oh, by the way, we're going to be starting in about 10 minutes. If you could, it'd be great if you could plug in. As soon as you can plug it in, it'd be awesome. You know, like get related to people, actually be over there with the person, like there's a,
mm,
there's a, there's a, so you have to be present where that person's at. Oh, are you okay? Yeah, who knows what they say, but you find out, so, so how important is it to be present? Well, if you're committed to being effective with people, I would say it's critical, top of the list.
mm, mm, mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess that kind of moves on to another idea Kouzes and Posen talk about in the leadership challenge is leadership is a relationship. Now,
Mm,
what I've often seen, maybe it's the command and control, but also those of us who've grown up going off to institutions like boarding school, we've been told relationships aren't important. We then get into leadership and we're realizing, oh, I need to have a relationship with these people. I need
yeah.
to, Mike Manaza again, he says, care for your staff, love them, and find out what the names of their wives are, their children are. Really dial into that. How important is developing relationships in leadership?
Yeah, well, I think it has to be, you have to, I remember getting trained in this particular aspect of leading, to be more caring. Okay.
Mm,
And I said, well, what if I don't really care? I just, tell me the problem and I'll handle the problem for them. Why do I have to care? I said, well, it makes a big difference if you care. I says, but how can I authentically care if I don't authentically care?
mm.
you know, uh, he said, well, first you've got to just take the actions that are caring. You've got to take caring actions. So what could be a caring action? I could ask, I could ask how are you doing? Great. What else? How is that for you? Yeah, find out what it's like for them. Yeah, great. What else? He just kind of challenged me like that to come up with ways of acting and being that were caring. And it was the thing that I was developing. I took it on as a development issue to improve my caring as an access to improving my effectiveness at leadership and coaching people. So I took it on over a period and in the debriefs, okay, where did that show up? And I'd share stuff. And before long, I just was caring. I was like a more caring leader than I'd ever been because I'd brought myself into existence as a leader that cared. When we started, I was a leader and would get the job done, but I didn't really care at that point without it being brought to my attention and then creating how to do that. That was what I'd created. It was authentic. Is it authentic if I've trained myself to do it? Well, consider the only thing that's authentic is something that's created. And if I have a painting and I go and paint some extra bits on it, that's not a real creation. I've added to it, I've changed it. It's a change. What do I need to create an original piece of art? I need a blank canvas. I have to start from a blank canvas because then I am literally creating something and then it's there that wasn't there before. So so that's authentic. That's an authentic piece of art. So to be an authentic leader, surely then, that following that logic, I'd need to have created myself as an authentic leader because I wasn't before. I was just the me that I ended up as in life. I ended up this kind of person. I'm like that, and I've learned this and I've learned that, and I'm this collection of ways of being and acting, if you like, and this collection of behaviors, and this connection of, what you would associate with, oh, he's like that, right? Whereas once you identify each part and the bits that don't actually work too well when you're interacting with human beings who don't know you and they've got no interest in knowing you particularly, except they're dealing with their lives and they're coming to you for answers and how to, you got to learn how to authentically care for them, take care of them, and work with them, you know? So that is a creation and it becomes authentic because you created it. If I do it because someone told me to do it, I'm back in the old trap of trying to remember what I'm supposed to do here.
Mm, mm, mm. So we keep coming back to authenticity, finding that
Yeah.
authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a, you know, people say be an authentic leader. I don't know how anybody's got any access to that from just saying that.
No,
If
no.
I'm an authentic leader and just say whatever opinion comes from, oh, I think you're not intelligent and I think you're this and I think it's this, that, and the other. That's all automatic. I don't have to do any real thinking for that. It's just thoughts that come. Is that authentic? Because that's what's there. That's the thought I'm having. Well, no, that's the thought you're having. But really, if you just slow down a moment and just step back, is that really you? Is that really what how you want to treat people? Is that really, serving the other person? Is that really authentically you? Or is that just automatic?
Mhm.
And it's an ongoing battle with oneself, with what I call automatic thinking. And I remember I was taking my dog for a walk in London when I was in London a while back, and I was walking with the dog, you know, and I saw a lady across the street, and I go, "Oh gosh, she's fat." That's the thought that went through my head, right? And I went,
Mhm.
"Wait, wait, wait, wait! I'm not committed to that. Thanks for sharing. I'm not. That's not what I want to think about this person. I'm not. I'm not going there." It's like you have to create an adversarial relationship with the automatics that happen.
Mhm.
Those people who don't do that, they just say whatever's on their mind and say, I just say it the way it is, or see it the way I see it. Yeah, well, what's running you is your automatics. It's not you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And those people end up in arguments and fights and then defending their view, and being right
Mhm.
about it and having to defend it and then getting, in some cases, violent about it. They don't realize they're on automatic. They're running on automatic. The automatics of our biology is running them.
And it's often, like you said, I've not read your book, but you talked about in the other podcasts, is like often our childhood conditioning, those
Hmm.
automatic programs. It's like, well,
Hmm.
I've got to prove myself, like you shared from your childhood. I've
Yeah.
got to be best. I've got to find love in some way. And I've noticed that certainly over the last 6 months, that outer critic sometimes comes into my head. And it's like,
Yep.
oh, hello there. You're
Yeah.
really pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again,
You can go with it and get into it and start doing that. But it's like playing a game almost. It's like, wow, wow, I really got wound up there. That's crazy.
yeah, 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 yeah,
My
yeah.
my 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 father right now is 86, and he just says, it's got more. It's become more. He just says whatever he's thinking, you know. And you point it out to him, and he realizes, oh, that was harsh, or that was, you know, insensitive, right? And he go, oh, I'm so sorry. I say stuff like that sometimes. So he's seeing it after the fact, which is interesting, but it is real. It's not really him. It's just the thought he's having. It's the thought that comes to him when he sees that.
Mm, 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 mm,
And you can point it out to him, and they go, oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to, sorry about that. And he's getting mad with himself for saying it, which is that's also, getting mad with yourself. It's automatic.
mm,
It's not
mm.
like you planned to just say it. It's not you plan or you came up with that after considered it and had some really serious thought. No, you just had the thought and spoke it.
Yeah. So I guess
And
that's
for most
sig
people, that's what they call being authentic, saying it, whatever is there. But you actually, is it really consistent with who you really are, or is it just, your nasty side, or your critical side, or your petty side, or your jealous side, or whatever's like this automatic stuff that's there? Is
mm,
that, if you strip all that away and you know all of that, like you could say the bigger version of you.
mm. So is that the way for us to become more authentic is to sit down and to go, who am I? We know what are my values? What are the things which are important, whether that's kindness, whether that's love, whether that's compassion, and then
Mm.
each day going, right, that's what I want to move towards. What would you say really helps
Well,
us?
it's interesting you say that question, right? Who am I? That's like all the way back to Socrates, like being the philosophical question of human being. Who am I really?
Mm,
And so in the forum that we used to have that as a question, who am I? And that's the
mm,
question of the forum. Who am I? Who am I really? Am I this? No, well, that's that, and that's that, and that's that, and that. So I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that. But being in that inquiry allows at some point you to show up, what we talk about, the real you to show up. And you only have to get a glimmer of it.
mm,
And you're never the same again. Once you
mm,
get a glimmer of who you really are, it's like it moves you to tears. You're just like, you move, you know? I went to church yesterday. I haven't been for a while. Uh, I'm in Costa Rica right now, and I went to church, and they had this, this question about the soul, right? Like what does your soul want? And I think it really does resonate well with who you really are and your authentic self, you know. So it was not that I'm talking about religion or anything. I'm talking about just getting to who you really are, the real you. I mean, you have a body, but are you your body? And people are that they are their body. They spend a lot of money making it look as good as they can and having operations and all sorts of stuff. And fine, do that if that's fine. I'm not, but it's not really you. You can lose an arm. Okay, I lose an arm. Am I any less of a person? I don't have an arm. Okay, so my body's not as it was, but I'm still me.
mm,
Aren't I? Yeah, I could lose both arms. Yeah, I've seen people who lose both arms, both legs, but they're still them. There's a them, there's a you that's not your body.
mm, mm,
Similarly, there's a you that's not your automatic thoughts. There's a you that's not those reactions that you have. There's a you that's not your anger. There's a you that's not your depressed feelings, if you have those, or your anxiousness. You know, I had a kid in a program, I was leading a program, who was depressed. And you said, well, what is the point of all this? I mean, it makes no difference, does it? I mean, I'm still depressed. I said, okay, let's just try something here, because consider you're a linguistic being. You are what you say that you are, and then you relate to that. You are wed to that because you said. So I couldn't get him to get it verbally, so I wrote on the board. So I said, I want to know the difference here. I am depressed versus I have depression. What's the difference? And it took him a while. And then finally he got, oh, I'm not my depression. I'm not depressed. I'm just have these feelings in my gut. It's heavy, it's horrible, but it's not me. I just have it. It's there because it's there. I have it because it's there, but I'm not it. And boom, he was like a different human being, like literally transformed in front of your eyes. He got, wow, I can be whoever I want to be. I've got that. I mean, you don't walk around and go, and I've got stomach ache. I am my stomach ache. You don't walk around and go, I am my sore throat. Oh, I am depressed. No, I have a sore throat. I have stomach ache. I have depressive symptoms,
mm,
but I'm not depressed. I'm good. Now,
mm,
Winston Churchill used to call it black dog as an aside, right? He said, oh, I've got the black dog today. So he found a way to have those feelings and still function. Whereas
yeah.
people who associate with or identify, it's more accurate, identify with those feelings as them, they're
Mm,
they're they're disabled in that moment. They're not able to function.
mm, mm. Reminds me of a phrase from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. He says,
Mm.
identity is repeated beingness.
Mm.
And he says, identity is, what was it? Identity change is the North Star of behavior change. So this
Okay.
idea that if we want to change our behaviors, well, we've got to go back, like you've just said, is like, I have it, I am not my depression.
Yeah. So back to that question is who are you? Well, I'm not that, and I'm not that, and I'm not that, and I'm not my body. And I'm not, well, who the hell are you then? You know, where's you and who are you really?
Mhm.
So, you know, if you really genuinely inquire into that question, you could be in that question for weeks. But if you're authentically in that question and then it hits you and you discover for yourself who you are in that moment, life's never the same again.
Mhm.
You
No.
know, Eckhart Tolle wrote the book The Power of Now, if you've ever read that, right? I give
Yes.
that to my friend. I gave that to a friend of mine he'd been suffering with depression, drugs, all sorts of things. A really good friend. I've known him since I was like 11 or 12 years old. Super intelligent, but so morose at times. I gave him this book. I said, just read that. It transformed his life reading the book because he was associated with what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body. Like that
Mm.
was him. And he's gotten separate from that now. And that, you know, he's in a relationship, he's super happy, his diet is amazing, he's on super nutritious food, and it's just like talking to him, he's so happy, you know, so happy. And this is 6 years later since I gave him the book. He's still reading the book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I have the
it's a
book.
lifetime thing, you know?
Oh, just over there. It's yeah, amazing book. So I'm aware of time. We're just coming up to an hour now, Will.
Hmm.
So as we start wrapping up, is there one final thing that you would love to share that maybe you feel you haven't shared, or something which will just wrap everything up?
Well, we have this word in the Middle East. I lead programs in the Middle East, leadership programs in the Middle East. And we have this word called Fitra, and they have it mostly linked to Islam. And in Islam, Fitra is the life God breathed into Adam. It's like the life force, right? That's Fitra. But it's a word that doesn't translate directly. You know, you take a seed and you put it in soil, it knows to grow into a perfect plant. And it grows perfectly with no outside influence whatsoever. It knows that's Fitra. You can take the same seed and put it in a different environment, different soil. It will grow up perfectly and in harmony with whatever environment it finds itself in. That's also Fitra. We that was what we called our program, the Fitra leadership. So it's about being able to be your true self no matter what's happening around you. And that's why I call my method the Fitra method, getting yourself all the way back to your essence, your true Fitra, and from there creating who you want to be in life, how you want to be in life, what are you up to? So also standing there in Fitra and creating your vision for your company or your vision for your entity, whatever your, let's say if you are a leader, and what is it that you're out to accomplish? So you create it so it's inspiring and it's authentic from you, from whatever, however we kind of put our finger on that. It's created in Fitra. It's created, so it's an expression of the real you. And so if you've got that, that's inspiring. It inspires other people to be that, to be part of that. Um, so, you know, we didn't talk about fitra, that word. And I had some people advise me to not use that word because people might think you're all into Arabic or Muslims or Islam. I'm not against any religion myself. I'm into human beings. But this word is such a rich word that I kind of it was the word I was looking for all these years of training people and getting people back to their true self. Um, you could say being authentic, and people say being authentic, right? But then what is that? But are you in fitra? Are you in your true essence, your true self?
Mhm.
You know. So we didn't talk about that, but uh, I don't know. It's just so. The more I got what that word represented and meant, the more I used it inside of my methodology and what I'm trying to accomplish with people that I'm working with. If you're being yourself, there's nothing to be afraid of. If you're being your true self, there's nothing to worry about. You're in the moment, you're present.
Mm-hmm.
If you're being your true self, you don't have anything blocking you and your love for another. You're just in the presence of it. It's a whole new experience of being alive for people.
Mm-hmm. Fitra. I think I might have heard the word before, but
Yeah. We spell it with a double T, Fitra, because my business partner in the Middle East insists it's double T, although dictionaries spell it with one T. You can spell it both ways. He says, no, it's Fitra. So give me the pronunciation. It's a
Mm.
double T.
So how do people find out more about your work? Well,
WillSteele.com. Very simple.
I like
Will
it.
Steele, STEEL.com. And then free to lead, you'll find out about the book.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's /free-to-lead.php. I don't know what PHP stands for, but if you do that, you get the book page and then you can find out about it, you know?
Okay.
And uh, I'm particularly happy about the audio book, you know? How I wrote I spent 14 months writing the book and you know, and this was coaching from Gary Bishop, who wrote Unfuck Yourself, and he wrote Stop Doing That Shit, and he wrote, he's very, very successful. He's a good friend of mine, and we worked together for about 3.5 years when I was leading the Lamont Forum. He was there for 3.5 years. I was there for 21, right? But he's been so successful as an author. He said he just reads it out loud, he reads it into the mirror. If it doesn't flow, it's not how he would say it, he has to rewrite it. So I took up that practice, you know. So by the time I go to the recording studio to record the audiobook, it's not a problem. It's not like I'm reading. It's just like, this is what I'm saying. This is it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, and people love it. And I love that they love it, you know? So that's the audiobooks. You
Mm.
can get that on Audible, you know?
Great. Well, what I'll do is I'll put a link into the comments to willsteele.com and
Yeah.
also free to lead as well. So
Yeah. Or
people can.
info at Will Steele, at willsteele.com. It will get to me as well. If you want to email me, you want to set up a, discovery call, see if you want to work with me together. I only work with a handful of VIP clients because it's not like we just talk on the call once a week. It's I'm with them, you know, like their results are my results. I don't know how you work, but it's like,
Mhm.
it's like their business seems like my business, right? Because they want it to be successful, or I have one client who wants to be prime minister of his country, and he needs transformation for that to happen, you know.
Mhm.
So, but without that, he ain't going to be that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you're at, what level you're at. If you've got your own business, and I'm working with a lot of garage owners at the moment who want to scale and sell their businesses. Well, that's great. Such a straightforward business model. I love it, and they're good people. I love people. I like working with people who are, they've got a challenge or they've got a commitment or they're up to something that they want to really accomplish in the world, particularly if they want to make a real difference with other people. I love working with those people. I love people who are curious, coachable, and committed to something, I'm not
Mm.
into so much therapy, which it can end up as. Um,
Mm.
I'm not really into that. I'll do that where it's required and where it shows up. But the bigger picture is to get you being a fullest version of you in the world.
Mm. Mm. Well, thank you for your time today. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for your wisdom, your guidance. I really loved what you were sharing about authenticity and, presence. So bless you.
Yeah. Thank you, Piers. Really enjoyed your
Yeah.
questions and your inquiry and your knowledge. You can tell, you've got a lot of knowledge in the area. So
Mm.
appreciate that too.
A pleasure. A pleasure. Right. Blessings. Take care, Will. Bye bye.
Thank you.